One conquered the known world by 32. The other built an empire that lasted 500 years. But only one was the better general. Alexander the Great versus Julius Caesar. The ultimate military comparison historians have debated for centuries. Both conquered nations. Both changed warfare forever. But their methods? Completely different. Alexander fought from the front lines. At the Battle of Granicus, he personally charged the Persian cavalry. A sword strike to his helmet nearly killed him. His second-in-command had to save his life. Why would a king risk everything? Because Alexander didn't just command armies. He inspired them through fear of disappointing him. But here's what most people miss. This wasn't bravery. It was calculated psychology. His men couldn't retreat if their king was ahead of them. Now contrast that with Caesar. At Alesia, he was outnumbered 5-1, facing 250,000 Gauls inside a fortress and another 80,000 relief army outside, trapped between two massive forces. Any normal general would have retreated. Caesar did something no commander had ever attempted. He built two walls, one facing inward to trap the Gauls inside, one facing outward to defend against the relief army. He was simultaneously besieging and being besieged. Historians call it the greatest feat of military engineering in ancient history. But would it work?
This reveals the core difference. Alexander won through shock and speed. His average campaign lasted 8 months. Caesar won through engineering and patience. The siege of Alesia took 2 months of waiting. Two completely different philosophies. Let's talk about raw statistics. Alexander fought 11 major battles, never lost once, never retreated. His kill-to-death ratio, estimated 20-1 in most engagements. At Gaugamela, he defeated 100,000 Persians with just 47,000 men. But Caesar faced something Alexander never did: military equals. The Gallic tribes used guerrilla tactics. The Pompeians knew Roman warfare inside out. Caesar fought against generals who trained in the same academies. Alexander mostly fought larger but less disciplined armies. Here's where it gets interesting. Alexander inherited the Macedonian phalanx from his father Philip. He perfected it, yes, but he didn't invent it. Caesar? He rewrote the Roman military manual. He created the testudo formation refinements. He pioneered rapid bridge construction. His engineers built a bridge across the Rhine in 10 days. The Germans thought rivers were natural barriers. Caesar proved them wrong. Both commanded legendary loyalty, but tested. Alexander's men mutinied once at the Hyphasis River. After 8 years of constant warfare, they'd had enough. They refused to march further into India. Alexander threw a 3-day tantrum in his tent. They still didn't budge. Caesar's men? They followed him across the Rubicon, knowing it meant civil war, knowing it branded them traitors, knowing they could lose everything. The difference? Alexander demanded loyalty. Caesar earned it through profit sharing and land promises. Who's the better leader? The one men fear disappointing, or the one they profit from following? Let's simulate their battle styles.
Could Caesar's legions stop that? The Roman manipular system was flexible. Not one rigid line, but 3 staggered rows. If Alexander's cavalry broke through, the second line would rotate and countercharge. The third line could be an envelope. Romans trained to fight in chaos. Macedonians trained for formation dominance. So we have Alexander's speed and shock versus Caesar's adaptability and engineering. But there's one factor that decides this debate: One category where these commanders couldn't be more different, and it completely changes who'd win in a direct battle. Logistics. The unglamorous truth of warfare. Alexander's supply lines stretched 3,000 miles from Macedonia to India. He lived off conquered lands. When those ran out, his army starved. In the Gedrosian desert, he lost 10,000 men, not to battle, but to thirst and heat. Caesar built supply depots. He calculated grain consumption per legion per week. He never marched more than 3 days from resupply. At Dyrrhachium, when Pompey cut his supply lines, Caesar held position for 4 months because he'd stockpiled. This isn't exciting, but wars aren't won by cavalry charges alone. They're won by beans and grain. Now here's the twist. Everything we just discussed, it might not matter, because Alexander and Caesar never fought the same type of war. Alexander conquered, Caesar controlled. Alexander fought foreign kings, Caesar fought civil wars and rebellions. Comparing them is like comparing a sprinter to a marathon runner. But you clicked this video for a winner. So let's set the scenario. Open field, equal numbers, 40,000 each, no prep time. Who wins? Alexander's Macedonian phalanx and companion cavalry versus Caesar's legions. First contact, the phalanx advances. 18-foot sarissa spears versus Roman gladius swords. Romans can't reach them. But Caesar wouldn't fight head-on. He'd use pilum javelins to break the formation. Each legionary throws 2 before closing. That's 80,000. Alexander counters with the companion cavalry. 5,000 elite horsemen smash into the Roman flank. This is what broke every army Alexander faced. But Romans have a counter, the triarii, veteran spearmen in the third line, specifically trained for cavalry. They lock shields, brace spears, and create a wall. Here's the truth. In a single battle, Alexander's tactical genius and personal leadership would give him the edge. He'd be in the fight, inspiring every soldier. Caesar would be behind the lines, coordinating. But in a campaign, Caesar wins. He'd avoid direct battle, burn supply lines, force Alexander to chase him, wait for the Macedonians to exhaust themselves, then strike. So who was the superior military commander? Depends on the question. Alexander never lost a battle, unmatched tactical perfection. Caesar never lost a war, unmatched strategic depth. Alexander conquered the impossible in 13 years. Caesar built a political and military system that dominated for centuries. One was a shooting star, the other was the foundation of Western military doctrine. Every military academy still studies Caesar's commentaries. NATO strategy uses Roman organizational principles. But Alexander, he's the impossible standard, the undefeated legend. Generals try to be Caesar. They dream of being Alexander. Maybe that's the answer. Caesar was an achievable genius. Alexander was mythological perfection. The debate will never end. But if you want more ancient warfare breakdowns like this, Hannibal versus Scipio, Genghis Khan versus Napoleon, subscribe now. We drop cinematic history every week. Who do you think would win? Alexander or Caesar? Comment below. In war, there are no perfect generals, only perfect moments. These two had more than most.